So, welcome to the Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District's Beavercreek Service Center. Thanks to COVID-19, face masks are currently required within the Soil and Water Conservation District, so we'll be taking some precautions here today, but let's go ahead and check the place out. Greetings, this is our lovely office administrator, Tammy Guttridge. So when you enter the district, Tammy will be here to welcome you and point you in the right direction. So,
welcome to Soil and Water Conservation District. I hope you enjoy Sam's tour of our building and our farm, and we welcome you here in the near distant future, we hope.
Here's the district conference room. This is where our board meetings are typically held, public meetings typically held. It's a little in disarray right now, again, because most everyone is meeting remotely, but this is a resource for Clackamas County and the Beavercreek area in general. So one of the other features we've gotten here is our weed herbarium. So there's a plant press, and we've also got some press specimens in here for our weed herbarium. So this area here is where all of our staff work and meet on days when we're not in a global pandemic. But here you go. Got a little bit of space here for everybody to get their work done. So here at the Beavercreek Service Center, we've got not just the soil and water, but also our USDA partners from the Natural Resource Conservation District and Farm Services Agency. So right here in suite number 2. So if you want to check them out, you can just venture on in here, and someone will be there to greet you, let you in the reception desk, and then here is our USDA Service Center area. So they're just moving into the new space after years of being apart. So we're happy to welcome them back to the Service Center. So here at the Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District Service Center, this property is a former farm. It's 13 acres of predominantly farmland, and one of the key features here is actually a century-old barn that's been on the property really as long as anyone can remember. And it's a nice little feature and an homage to the past here at the district with our new building right next door. So here we are checking out the old barn here in Beavercreek, and we typically have a resident barn owl hanging out, but I don't see Barney today. So,
hi, this is Justin Cooley with the Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District's WeedWise team. Going to talk a little bit about what we've been doing out here. Our team has been in charge of the vegetation management since we moved in out here, and yeah, so this is one of the projects we are looking at, our wonderful berm planting. It has been a bit of a challenge and time consuming to maintain, partially because we have a mix of native forbs, grasses, rather should I say fescue, and shrubs. To maintain the aesthetic appearance, we've had to do multiple spot sprays on all the common weeds that come in, and we can't really broadcast it with systemic products. To address this issue, one of the things that we have done is, after spot spraying last fall, we did a application of Esplanade 200 SC, which is indaziflam, also basically the same formulation as Rejuvro. And the pre-emergent appears to have held for the most part. We do have some breakthroughs.
So this is one of the hay fields here at the Beavercreek farm, and we've got about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 acres that are currently in production. So this is one that we've been actively managing for forage and for invasive grasses. So Justin Cooley, our WeedWise specialist here, has been actively controlling invasive plants within this field.
To keep the weeds down, we did an application of Weed Master earlier this spring. And as you can see, we don't have too many weedy asters out here anymore. Let's see if we can find one. Oh, beautiful. This is one of our other pastures that we have hayed annually in the spring, or usually about or late June or early July. We also treated this one with Weed Master earlier in the growing season. We did not treat inside our old arena, and as you can see, we still have a lot of those problematic pasture weeds. Queen Anne's lace, Canada thistle, plantain, St. John's wort, a lot of fun stuff. We'll definitely try to get in here and blast this and after we get some good little bit of rain to get everything actively growing again.
So being out here in rural Clackamas County, you know, one of the calls I get the most, or one of the questions I get the most is about tansy ragwort. So this is a plant that's known for poisoning livestock. It used to be regulated in the county, and this is one that escaped the wrath of us earlier in the season and is starting to go to seed. So I've pulled it up and we're getting rid of it right now to prevent it from spreading any further.
So we have a lot of low permeability surface surrounding our office building, which is great in terms of functionality for equipment, trailers, backing up into our pole barn and everything else. But it is a lot of area to drain. And for that, we have our new swale that was constructed with at the same time as the building. This swale is well established. It's been irrigated since the plants were installed, which, you know, and it looks, most of the plants look pretty good in here. The one thing, as with most construction projects, you're going to see new species show up on the property that weren't there before. In this case, you know, we've been managing them, so they're not all that evident, but we've had teasel and sweet clover and poison hemlock show up.
So we're out here underneath our little Douglas fir stand back in here, and you'll see there's not a lot of vegetation on the ground, and actually this is a pretty good thing for this spot. So when we first purchased this property, this entire understory was 100% cover of shining geranium. So after 2 years of active management, hitting this population a couple times a year, we've been able to reduce that amount, and we're doing some site prep for us to actually do some restoration in some of these areas as well. You can see there's one of the nice habitat snags that we're leaving on the property for birds.
But fortunately, our applications of Indaziflam and Garlon 3A seems to have done a good job suppressing the shiny leaf geranium.
So here we are. One of the features of the farm is one of our two ponds. This pond is an off-channel pond, so it's completely groundwater fed. It has a very, very healthy infestation of bullfrog. But one other thing worth noting is we also have actually a state endangered species known as humped bladderwort. So here's the plant right here. Let's see if you can see it. So that's humped bladderwort, and if you can see those little black specks, those are actually little carnivorous bladders. So this is the second pond of the farm, and this is the lowest I've actually seen it, thanks to the really warm weather we've had this year. This pond is actually an in-stream pond, so the seasonal stream comes in from this side, fills the pond, and then you can see a dam that was constructed back in the 1980s to actually power a water wheel behind the trees there that we'll take a look at in a second. But one of the key features of this pond, one of the key considerations is most of the green that you see there is actually invasive parrot feather. So there's some ponds upstream of this location that have quite a bit of parrot feather that we've been out on site to consult with those landowners. and it's come downstream. And so actually this dam in this situation is one that we would typically encourage pulling out, and we may end up pulling it out at some point in time because it is an in-stream pond and a fish impediment. But at this point in time, it's actually helping to keep the parrot feather contained within this upper stretch of the creek here. So I guess that's the silver lining to a bad weed situation. So here we are at the old pump house. This was a water wheel and the dam here that was constructed again back in the 1980s by the previous landowner. It's not something that we would do these days, but the water wheel is there. It's in a seized position, so I think this is a great opportunity for us to consider pulling this water wheel out and restoring some natural flow into the seasonal creek. So here we are at actually maybe one of my favorite spots on the farm, and it probably looks a little unimpressive this time of year, but this is actually an area that has a really healthy and nice remnant population of camas. So it's a nice little spot in here, especially you come out in spring, you see all these hay fields, you come back here in this area that we're actively managing for wildlife and for habitat, and to see this great camas bloom in spring is really neat to see. So if you get a chance to visit, COVID makes it so you're able to come out here, this would be a great spot to check out in spring. So thanks for sitting in through the quick tour of the Clackamas Soil and Water Conservation District's Beavercreek Farm and USDA Service Center. We're looking forward to the days where we can actually do site tours and have people out to come take a look. If you really can't wait and you really want to take a look, you can contact the district at the main office and we can arrange a visit for you. So this is a great location, a great opportunity for us. It's still in the works, and we're looking forward to the day where staff are here full-time, and we can start investing more time and resources into developing this place as we move forward. So thanks for stopping by.